Hi everyone, Tracy here with Paper Closet Designs, and today's video is an assembly video for some new laser cut files that I've done. It's been a little minute since I've had the chance to do some laser cuts, but I'm really excited about these. They are perfect for actually any time of the year, but for fall especially, and they are the bears and the bees. So I have 3 separate files, and I'm going to show you how to assemble all 3 files. This is not a painting video. I have done a painting video in the past. In fact, I've done quite a few of them, but this is just how to assemble these particular files. So really quickly, a couple of things that you'll need for the assembly. So once they've been painted and decorated or whatever you want, you will need some glue. Just any type of wood glue works really well. I buy this super glue at the dollar store and it works great, but you can use any wood glue that you have on hand. I also like to use Sharpies, and I will show you why I use those in just a minute. And then you will want some white paint and some black paint. Doesn't matter the brand. You want a decent quality, an acrylic paint. And then you will want a little cup of water, a paper towel, and 1 to 2 toothbrushes. And I will show you why I use the 2 separate toothbrushes here in just a second. So the first one that we're going to assemble is the mini cutting boards. And these were designed to be able to cut with anything that has a 12 by 12 cut base. So I did these on my Xtool M1 Ultra. I just got that not very long ago. In fact, I'm putting some videos together on how to use that. It can also be cut from the smaller Glowforge, I think it's called the Aurora, I'm not sure, but the smaller Glowforge. Anything that has a 12 by 12 cutting base will work with these. And there are 3 of them that come in your file. The first one, we're going to slide this over, is the Be Happy. And I'm going to get my glue out. And the first thing that I use my big Sharpie for is if you ever get paint on the edges, and that one didn't really do it. I'm pretty good with my painting, so. But let's see, right there on the edge is the white kind of went over the edge. If you like that burnt edge all the way around, take a Sharpie that has kind of a thick edge, that's not even in the screen, a thicker end, and then you're just going to go over the edge with your Sharpie, and it will kind of clean up those edges. I don't know how well you can see that, but now there's no paint hanging over on the edges. You will want to make sure that your paint is dry. In fact, when I paint these, I will usually paint them and let them set for 6 or 7 hours or overnight so that everything can dry before I finish putting them together. Okay, so on the Be Happy, we have the bee, and I laid these out while the paint was wet. Excuse me. I'm still fighting this stupid summer cold that I have had. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some glue, and I'm going to glue the back of the flower down to the cutting board. And I am going to start with the biggest piece just because it helps kind of decide where everything else is going to go. Let's see, I may have to. Got my glue fixed. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue and glue that down, and it is going to hang over just a tad, and I'm okay with that. Then I'm going to take the inside of my flower piece and then the leaf. So these smaller mini cutting boards, I cut them out of balsa wood because I liked the grain of the wood to show through. Usually when I cut my images, I use the MDF, but on these smaller ones, it is balsa wood. And you'll notice that the colors are perhaps a little bit brighter on the balsa wood. Okay, so for the bee, I'm going to put glue on the back of the bee and then just kind of lay it wherever I want. I need to make sure that I have wood behind it to glue the wings. So you wouldn't want to put it clear out here and not have a space to glue your wings. So we're going to glue those wings on next. I also like to use a glue that dries clear because sometimes you will get a little bit oozing out. And that piece is just going to go right in there. And there is our Be Happy. It's not quite finished, but I'm going to put all the rest of these together first. Okay, the next one is our Something Sweet, and it has a little honey jar that says For My Honey with a heart, and again with the same bee. I'm going to slide it off, and I'm going to glue my honey jar on there. And I'm going to put it really close to the bottom, not quite on the bottom, but you do want your Something Sweet to show on there. Stick our heart. And you could add some dots to that heart if you wanted to. I'm kind of wishing I had done that. In fact, I'm going to just really quick. I'm going to get my white paint. This is kind of spur of the moment, so this was not planned. And I'm going to get my stylus, if I can find it. And I'm just going to pick up some dots and add some dots to my heart, because I think that will make it even cuter. Usually I like to add these things before I assemble it so that they can be nice and dry. Before I glue everything together, but I had debated doing this and now I'm gonna just do it because I think it'll be cute. Okay, so now we can take our little bee and poke his pieces out. We're going to add some glue to the bee. And again, you want to put this far enough down that the wing is going to have some wood to glue to. And so if you cover up a little bit of the words, that's okay. You also want to make sure that there is some wood for the stripes to be glued to. I love bees. I love them. Well, I don't love them when they sting me, but I love the bees. I think they're so cute. There's our little... You can see how I'm kind of moving that around. That's why I should have done those dots beforehand, because they're getting smeared a little bit. Okay, there is our Something Sweet. And then the last one in this set is the Very Cute cutting board. And it has the most pieces. So it has the little feet, and they are 2 pieces, each one of them. Feet or paws, whatever you want to call them. We have the bee, and then we have the teddy bear. And he has the body, the muzzle, his nose, the face, and the ears, and that stuck to the paint, so I'm just going to leave it sitting there. Oh, there we go. It came off. Okay, so I'm going to take his body and glue it on first, and it sits right down there on the bottom. And then we have his muzzle, and the little nose excuse me, not the nose, but the little mouthpiece is actually scored in with the laser. So that's not painted or drawn on. It's part of the laser cut. And I know somebody's going to ask that. Yes, I have these in an SVG file, not necessarily as the cutting boards, but the bears and the bees. And those will be listed here soon as well. So we're going to put down his little face. And then we're going to do his paws or his feet. So I'm going to start with the center piece, and it just gets glued on, and it is kind of half hanging off of the bear. So it's not on completely. And we're going to line up those bottom pieces. And then I'm going to take the outside of the paw and glue it on next. And the same with the right side. Whoops, I bumped that. Set it right there. Okay, then we're going to take our ears and put them inside of our little teddy bear, inside of the earpiece. And then next we have the nose. So we're going to add the nose. This teddy bear is pretty tiny, so I did not cut out any eyes. But I want eyes on my teddy bear, so I'm going to take my smaller Sharpie. This is the fine point. And I'm just going to add some eyes right above the nose. And I'm actually going to turn it upside down so I can see it a little bit closer. I'm just going to draw a couple of dots for my eyes. You could also do it with dots of paint if you wanted to. Now my teddy bear has, excuse me, has some eyes. So next up, we're going to add our bee. And you can put him pretty much anywhere you want. You do want to make sure that he's got a spot for his wings. And for the stripes, and I can't remember where I had it. That's not it. Let's put him right there. Actually, now that I've done that, I think I'm going to put him on his face. There, I like that. Okay, we have the wings. We're going to glue on those. Oh, come on. There. Now we're going to glue those wings on. I'm thinking when I designed this, I had the bees a little bit down more on his tummy. But I'm not going to keep messing with it. You can put them wherever you want, or you can leave the bee off. Okay, so there are the 3 cutting boards. The next thing that we're going to do, and this is how I finish almost all of my projects, is I speckle them. So we're going to take our little cup of water, and we're going to take our brushes. We want a paper towel, and we want our paint board. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the white. Now the reason I use 2 different toothbrushes is so that I can use one with black and one with white and not make them gray. If you want to, you can do, you can use just one. If you're going to use just one, always start with the white and then rinse it out as best you can. So what I'll do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to dip it in the water. And then I'm going to get as much out of there as I possibly can on my paper towel. I'm going to pick up some paint. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to pick up some paint. This does get a little messy. I'm going to take my thumb and just rub my thumb across it. And that is what I'm going to do on the cutting boards is, move those out of the way. I'm just going to run it across, and you want a light color. If it's not doing what you want, you can pick up some more water, get most of the water out of it, pick up some more paint, and then just speckle. And less is more. I mean, you do want it on there, but you don't want to go crazy. So after I've done it with the white, I'm going to do the same thing with the black. So I need to put some black on my paint board, paint palette. Get some water, tap out most of the water. The more water that you use, the bigger dots you're going to get, but they're going to run. And so you want most of that water out. Pick up the black. And I always like to do a test right on my paint palette. And then just go over it. And if it doesn't look like it's doing very much, go ahead and get another one. Pick it up. And there we go. I love the specks. I think it just kind of adds a finishing touch, but it's not a necessary if you need to. It's not necessary if you don't want to. Okay, so we're going to put those aside, and then once these are completely finished, I would probably tie a bow or some ribbon, something on those to finish up. So those are the mini cutting boards, and again, I cut those with a smaller bed. You can also do them in your bigger bed if you have a larger one. Let's go ahead and set those aside. Bring this down. The next one that I'm going to do is my sitting bear with the flowers. See if I can get this all right in the screen. I'm not there yet, so I'm going to scoot over a little bit more. So this is a shelf setter, and it has the two flowers and the bear holding the honey jar and the stand. And I have already painted everything, so we're just going to go ahead and assemble that as well. So the first thing that I would do is I'm going to take my flowers and I'm going to glue the leaves onto the flowers. I did not paint the back sides of these. You can if you'd like to. A lot of people do like them. Where I display them in my house, the backs can't be seen, and so I don't usually take the time to paint the backs. We're just going to glue that there, and while I'm working on the leaves, I'm going to do the leaves on the second flower as well. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the flowers. So I'm going to slide the bees off in the center. And I want one of my flowers to be a little bit taller than the other. So I'm just going to put some glue on this stem, on the top of the stem. And then kind of add my flower. And I'm going to hold it for just a quick second or two so that it can dry. Because it's not all the way, the stem doesn't go all the way towards the back of the flower because I want this one a little bit taller. So we're going to give it a second to dry and then go ahead and add our center. Then we're going to come to our second flower, same thing, only this time I'm going to put the flower down a little bit lower. I'm going to put my glue a little bit lower and just hold him for a minute. And then let's go ahead and add the center of the flower. Okay, I'm going to let those dry while I finish this up before I add the bees. So our little feet, we're going to set aside because we are actually going to put those together when we put it on on the base. Not put it together, we're gonna glue them on. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue the centers of those feet, and they line up right along the bottom. But I'm not gonna glue them onto my bear just yet. Okay, then we have our little honey, or the honey jar that says "For my honey," and the heart. I don't know how well you can see it, but on this bear, there's a little bit of a lip. This is what's going to fit down into the stand. So you want to make sure that the bottom of your honey jar is even or above that edge, or else it won't fit very well into the stand. So I'm going to just put it up there. Okay, before I put my arms on, I'm going to actually put on the muzzle. So we have two eyes, and we have the nose, and now we have the muzzle. And again, on this one, the mouth is etched out when we do the, when we cut it out of the laser. So I'm gonna put this on here, and then you can kind of decide where you want it. The head and the body don't have this on here. It's not cut out. So you can just kind of decide how far up you want his muzzle to be. And we're just going to put that on there. And now I'm going to put the arms on because they go right underneath the muzzle. And we'll let that dry for just a second. We're going to put the heart inside the honey jar. And we're going to put the ears on. There is a placement line inside the ears so that you'll know exactly where to put these. Just like that. We have our little nose. All of these files can be found in different places. MyScrapChick.com is where I sell almost all my files. And then I have some on Design Bundles, Creative Fabrica, different places. Okay, so once we've got the nose glued on, now we're going to glue on the eyes. Our little bear is assembled, so all we have to do now is glue the bees onto the flowers. And you want to, again, make sure so the center of your flower is sticking up. So when you glue your bee down, you want to make sure there's enough wood for the stripes and the wings to have something to be glued to. So he can be hanging off that center, but you want at least a little bit on there, if that makes sense. Okay, now we're going to add this bee. And this set fits anything that has the larger bed on it. So I did this on my Glowforge. It fits on a piece of board that is 11.5 by 18.5 inches or larger. And then you'll be able to get the whole thing on the file. If you wanted to break the file down and do it on a smaller bed, you could. None of the pieces are too big that you could not do that. You could do this in the Xtool M1 Ultra, the Glowforge, the smaller Glowforge, or any of your smaller beds. This is your biggest piece, and as long as that piece will fit inside your bed, you can break this down and do it on those smaller ones. All right, I'm going to lay my feet on my bear while I do the speckling. I haven't glued them on there yet, but I'm going to lay them on there. So now I need to get my paint board, again, my paint palette, and we're going to start with the white. I'm going to dip it in the water, I'm going to dry it out on the paper towel, pick up some white, test it, and then just sprinkle. And a little bit on the stand. Do the same thing with the black. Get the white paint off your finger first, because you don't want it to be gray, you want it to be black. Get some water, get the water out on your paper towel, pick up some black paint, give it a test, and then just speckle. All right, to assemble this is actually quite easy. Excuse me. I need to take some pictures, so I'm not going to glue it together. I will show you how to glue it together, and then I'll take my pictures and finish gluing it. So you would take your teddy bear, and he goes in this middle slot, and the middle slot should be towards the front of you. So I would just lay him right in there and glue him in. And then you'll take your flowers, and they go in these slots in the back, and you're going to glue them in. Just like that. I know it's really hard to see the way I've got it laying down here. And then once those are on there and this is glued in, then you would take your feet and glue them to the back of the teddy bear and onto the bottom. Does that make sense? I hope so. I will have pictures of these assembled, and it should make sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and slide this teddy bear off to the side with his flowers, and we are going to do the last one. So the last one is pretty tall. He is, oh, and here's our stand. And this one can only be cut by one of those larger beds or even a bigger bed. So I did this for sure on my Glowforge because the back piece is too long to do on one of those smaller ones. You could shrink it down if you wanted to, but your stand might not fit. If you shrink it down too small, your little stand piece isn't going to fit, and you're going to have to play around with that. So I would just say, just do this one if you have the bigger bed. Okay, so he has, let's see where to start. We have two flowers right here. I'm going to slide those off, and they have the centerpieces and they have the leaves. The teddy bear, oh, then there's two bees, and they're the same size, so it doesn't matter where you put them. We have the honey jar again. This one says, honey, and it actually has the honey oozing out of the top of the jar with your heart. Then we have his feet that are just like the other one, so the inside and the outside. His two paws, his nose, his muzzle, two eyes, the inside of the ears, and the whole teddy bear. So there's the inside of the ears, and there's our whole teddy bear. Set those aside. And then we have the beehive. And when you lift it up, these pieces all pop out. Now I painted them and kind of put them together so they're already stuck. But if I flip them over, you'll notice that they are individual pieces. And then we have the background, the base. So I did not paint the base because everything on here is going to be covered. You're not going to see any of this. You could go ahead and paint it if you want to, but it's not a necessary step. So we're going to take our beehive and we are going to put glue on it. Now my beehive on the back looks really messed up because I was cutting some other projects and they didn't cut through. And so I just decided to use this piece anyway. So you're going to put your glue on it, flip it over, and it is going to go, there's this little stand piece. It is going to go right up to that, and it is going to cover the edges of your back piece. It's just going to match up. And if this weren't already stuck together because I had painted them separately, you would glue on the outside and then glue your inside pieces on first. Don't feel like I'm doing a very good job with this video. Okay, then we're going to take our bear body and we're going to glue him. Put lots of glue on him so he holds. Some on the ears. And again, he will fit just right on that base, on the top of the beehive, and then just make sure his ears all match up. And he is good to go. Okay, next piece, let's go ahead and take our muzzle, and you will notice that the background has a little bit of a guide showing through. So we're going to go ahead and put the muzzle on. And we can go ahead and put our ears in right now. If you wanted to really make this a cute little bear, you could polka dot his ears or stripe his ears. You could also take printed paper and Mod Podge your printed paper onto some of these shapes. I've seen that done. I've done that. It's really pretty. Okay, next up, let's add our paws. Our top paws, there's a cutout or a guide. So we're going to go ahead and put some glue on them. And then our feet. So I think it's easiest to do the outside of the feet first, and you only need to put glue on half of it that's going to be stuck to the bare body, not that. But you can use that as your guide. Oops, there we go. And the inside. Do the same with this foot. And the inside piece. Lined up. Okay, the next thing we want to do is add our honey jar and the honey piece. So we're going to want to kind of make sure that both pieces fit inside there. You might have to move your paws around a little bit. And then we can glue everything down. So let's get our honey jar. And then the actual honey. We can do our face now, so we can add the nose. And the eyes. Whoa. The glue will dry clear, so you're not going to be able to see all those mess ups I did. Okay, let's do our heart. And let's add our flowers. So I'm going to kind of figure out where I want those to go first. Do the outside of the flower, the inside of the flower, the large leaf, now we can do our small flower, inside of the small flower, and the leaf. The final thing we have on this one is the bees. So I'm going to put one bee over here. There's the and his wings. Okay, and then we have the other bee, and I think I'm going to kind of put him going that way. He needs to go up just a little bit so there's some wood for his stripes to glue to. And his wings. Okay, so our standing teddy bear is now done, and we are going to go ahead and speckle him as well. Bring the stand over, get my paint palette, and we're going to start with the white. Pick up some white paint, or excuse me, some water, tap it out. Get some white paint. I'm kind of running low, but that's okay because we're about done. And just add some speckles here and there. A little more water. Oops, that was a little heavy. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same with my black. All right, and he is done as well. When you assemble this one, your stand, the cutout is not quite in the middle. So the edge that has the more, is wider. So the edge that has the wider actually goes to the front. And then the little stand just slips into there. You'll glue him in. And then he is done as well. Now, I know that some people don't like to glue their stands because they think it's easier to store, and that is fine. I've done that on some of my bigger pieces too, not this big, but something that's a little bit bigger. I will maybe not glue my stand to so that it's easier to store. But I think it stands a little bit better, is a little more secure when you put a couple of drops of glue in there. So there we go. There are our 3 teddy bear and bees projects that were done on the laser, all ready to assemble. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this project. I hope that you'll give one of these a try. Please hit subscribe down below so you don't miss any of my videos. Give me a thumbs up and have a great day.